Welcome to Pet Sitter Confessional. Today we're brought to you by Time to Pet and the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. Today we're tackling a topic that comes up in business when we look to grow, expand, or just get better at business practices. CRMs. What are they and how do they work? And to answer those questions, plus a lot more, is Dom Hodgson. He's been on the show 5 times now, Dom, so welcome back. But for those new listeners who haven't been able to listen to those, or for those who haven't listened in a while, could you please give us a little bit of update on who you are and all that you do?
Yeah, absolutely, Colin. Thanks so much for inviting me onto the show again. It's always a pleasure. I always learn a lot from listening to you guys and talking to you guys. So if anybody hasn't heard of me, my name is Dom Hodgson. I'm known as the Pet Biz Wiz, and I am primarily a coach and consultant for service-based pet business owners. I've been doing that since about 2017. And my mission really now is to help empower passionate pet professionals so they can change the world with their innovative, impactful, premium priced, you knew I was going to get that one in there, didn't you, Colin? Pet businesses. Yeah, this is what I'm all about, is helping people to find the hidden money in their business so they can make it easy to scale and, affect real change. Because I know, because I've been one myself, I know pet business owners, that's what they're into, they're into growing their business, they're into making money, but deep down, they're super passionate.
And you said a phrase there, find the hidden money in businesses. And I think that's so key because our businesses are a lot more valuable than a lot of us even think of, because we're so focused on the passion for pets that the business aspect kind of comes later or not at all for a lot of us. Absolutely.
And, I talk about in business about there being like 2 engines in your business. So engine number 1 is all about getting eyes on the business, like what can you do to get that attention, to get those first clients in the door? And there's a number of different things that we can do. And the CRM that we're going to talk about probably ties into that as well. But the engine number 2 is really where all the easy money is in the business. Engine number 2 kicks in once you've got a customer. So how can you sell them more stuff? How can you upsell them to higher priced products? How can you move them from being a one service buyer to being a multiple service buyer, or into continuity? How can you get referrals? How can you get testimonials? You know what I mean? And all of these things, we get in this mindset of like, I need more clients, when really, like I said, the hidden, easier money is to be made from your existing client pool.
Yeah, because they're already there, bought into your company. They're just kind of sitting there waiting. And so asking that question of, okay, in what other ways can I serve them with services that would connect with me?
You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, we assume that everybody is already buying everything that they want from us. And if they wanted more, they would ask. And the fact is they don't. And we have to, as marketers of the business, and that's what you are. You are the marketer of your business always. There's lots of things you should outsource, and there may even be some aspects of the marketing that you might outsource. But really, if you want to be in control of where your business goes, how successful you are, how much money you earn, you've got to really be in control of the marketing, and that's how we do it.
Yeah. Well, so we've said this word a couple times now, CRM. It's not word, it's a couple letters. So what the heck is a CRM? And what does that stand for?
Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a kind of a picture of where most pet business owners sit, I think, anyway, and I primarily had a dog walking business, a dog adventure business, and did boarding too. So I was very much kind of in your world, where a lot of your listeners are right now. And I think how I'm going to describe it is I'm going to use a dog analogy, Colin. Okay, so I'm going to ask, do you have a show dog type website, or do you have a service dog type website? Okay. And when it comes to pet business websites, it's not uncommon to see a lot of websites that they're just like a collection of, pretty pictures and pixels that have lovely pictures of dogs, and they make our mom smile or our relatives smile when they see the website. But what they fail to do the crucial job of generating sales, generating results, generating leads for the business, okay? And that's where, if you have a fully optimized direct response led type website, that's when you can have more of a service dog for the website, something that is working for you like around the clock, really, all the time, even when you're in bed, asleep, or you're on holiday, or you're taking time off, or whatever it is, your website is working for you. It's working for you. It's warming people up. It's attracting the right kind of people. It's hopefully collecting their contact details. And it's doing more than just being like a pretty placeholder for your website, for your business, I should say. Does that make sense?
It does, because I think that's a difference a lot of people have of, do I have a presence? Or is the presence actually doing something for me? Is it, because that you mentioned a lot of stuff that websites and this presence can have. Of it can attract people, it can guide them through a process, it can collect information, maybe they can book. There's a lot of stuff that it can do versus something that we think, well, here's a website, it's got my name on it and it says my prices, so I'm done. Great, let's on to the next thing.
Precisely. And a bunch of pet business owners, and I've been there myself back in the day when I didn't know, about more sophisticated ways of marketing your business. They might have a website, and then after maybe 2 or 3 years, they get bored of the website. So then they get like a new version, and really they're changing the order of the pictures. They're changing maybe the branding, they're changing the logo, but as regards effectiveness of actually gathering leads, all the stuff that we talked about before, nothing's really changed. And unless you're working with some kind of a website designer who really understands all this stuff, understand marketing, they understand how important lead capture is, they're not going to be able to provide that for you. So there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of pretty pixel websites out there, which they might look great, that you might think they look great from a man in the street point of view, but as regards to, how effective is it at bringing in clients, capturing their details, funneling them, essentially. We hear a lot of talk about funnels these days, don't we? Funneling them to make a decision, to book an appointment, to book a meet and greet. How effective is it at doing that? And and that's kind of the background to where the CRM kind of comes in.
And so,
anyway.
Okay. Well, so what does the 3 letters actually mean?
So it's customer relationship management,
okay,
really. And that it's a bit of a mouthful, but let's give another quick example. People understand a lot better. So most people, when they think about the communications that they're doing from their website in their online space, they probably have like a MailChimp, or maybe it's an Aweber account or something like that, some kind of basic standard email collection system, And those systems they're great for when you're just starting out, if all you're doing is collecting some email addresses, And I used Aweber for many years. I think it was slightly more expensive than MailChimp at the time, but that did me for like a very, very, very long time. However, when I started to add more services, when I started to add more like avenues in the business, more profit arms of the business, then that one email collection service didn't cut it anymore, I needed something that enabled me to like store the data of the clients so I could see what they were interested in, what they were buying, what their challenges were. And I needed a way to be able to communicate with them in a segmented way, because you shouldn't really be talking to somebody who's just discovered you and landed on your website. You shouldn't be talking to that person the same way as you talk to a client who's been on the books for 5 years. And you shouldn't be talking to that person the same way as you talk to maybe a lapsed client, So we need to have, and this, obviously this expands when you start, maybe if you start adding on, you start selling products, or maybe if you start adding on a grooming service or a walking service onto your business or a daycare or whatever, all of this stuff can get really, really complicated if you don't have this customer relationship management system.
We recently added wedding pet attendant services to our company, and This has made me think a lot about that world of weddings, because weddings are wild and they're weird, and kind of price and expectations just kind of they just disappear. There's not a lot of, there's a lot of expectations that go into offering a wedding service. And you're right. Now all of a sudden we're going, oh, right. Like I need to talk to these people. Actually, I need to talk to them differently and approach them in a different avenue than my dog walking clients, than my pet sitting clients, than my cat sitting clients. And I think that's as a business owner, but that's really hard to all of a sudden go, okay, oh no, like I have to think of these segments in my business, and then I have to do something with those segments. And I guess that's really where the CRM is coming in, this managing those individual buckets of relationships that we have.
Absolutely. Hit the nail on the head. Great example with the weddings, what you just said there. So, and I think the example you're making is like, if someone is looking for a wedding chaperone for their dog, then they, like you said, they're in wedding mode. They're in wedding mode, and like that's the most important thing to them. And so therefore they will likely choose someone to help them who is at least presenting themselves as being, experienced in this area, and they've maybe got resources and testimonials and all this kind of thing as well, and that's true for weddings. That's probably true for everything, Someone who wants cat sitting wants to know that they're buying into someone who, is knowledgeable and experienced when it comes to cat sitting, and all these other different kinds of services as well. And when one of the sort of key attributes of having like a CRM system is you're able to set up like almost like an onboarding sequence for each of these different segments, services that you offer, So let's say you have like a wedding page, hopefully on your website, so you have your wedding services page, and you've got your big pain point at the top, hey, are you getting married? Do you want your dog there? Or are you worried about XYZ? Check our services, and you've got testimonials and all this kind of thing on there. Then you might have like maybe it's a free guide, Colin. That might be a good idea. The 5 things that you must do to ensure that you have a stress-free day with your dog at your own wedding. Something a little bit catchy in that. But I'm just pulling this. I'm just pulling this out the air for now. Yeah. So you might have a little lead magnet on there, or you also might just have a contact form too. And either way, once someone's filled in those details, you want to be able to reply to them and hopefully take them through some kind of a know, like, trust warm-up sequence that demonstrates your expertise, that lets them know that they're in good hands, so that they then invest in your services, Now, imagine if you had that for each of the different services that you offer. So when someone lands on your cat page, they land on that, they read the stuff, they're interested, they put in their details, then you go through some kind of a cat onboarding sequence, Same for your dog walking, same for your boarding, same for your wedding, same for whatever it is that you have to offer. Now you can see how kind of powerful it is to have this. It's almost like having a virtual assistant, isn't it? Because the emails are going out regularly, consistently, at the right time and intervals that you require. And you're able to kind of drip feed information to the prospect or to the client over a certain period of time.
Are there, we mentioned a couple email things with MailChimp and Aweber. What are some common or popular options or services that are available for this these days?
There's a bunch of different ones. HubSpot, there's MailerLite, I think. There's Infusionsoft I've used for a lot of years. There are a bunch of cropping up now. There are a bunch of kind of pet specific ones too, so they're leading a bit more into the pet niche, as you would imagine. I think they vary in their kind of complexity, and like it's a big step, It's a fairly biggish step to go from what I was on Aweber once upon a time. Like I said, it was very similar to MailChimp. Yeah. Moving to Infusionsoft, it was like a big step, and it was a big step in price as well. I was going from spending like, I don't know, $30-$40 a month to spending, $200-$300. But my business was at the stage, like I said, where it was kind of it was a false economy for me to not do it, because I was spinning all these plates and I'm trying to get this system to kind of do more than it's actually required, than it's built to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a bunch of different options out there. I just want people to understand how much of a help this can be to your business, to setting you free. And it all depends on kind of where your business is at too. Because, I think you can probably get, now, these figures aren't kind of set in stone, This is just like my experience in my own business and hearing people talk. But, you can build up to a fairly decent amount of income, 60, 70, maybe it's even pushing like 100K a year, like by yourself or with an assistant maybe, or, one or two part-time assistants or something like that. And like, if you're premium priced and you're doing all these other things right in your marketing that I always talk about, but there's a stage in your business where, and you guys will have experienced this, won't you, in the last kind of couple of years, where it's like, it's going beyond that, and if you try and do everything yourself, you can maybe push it a bit further, you might even be able to push it like another 100K further. I don't know, but you'll be dying, you know what I mean? You'll be absolutely dead on your feet, trying to keep all these different communications going, and you'll be dropping balls. So I think anybody kind of, who has, is it six figures, or they have six figures in their sights, or they push beyond that, and they're you've got momentum and you're aggressively growing. To me, this is like a no-brainer,
Yeah. Well, and I think that aspect of, how do you want to spend your time? And then of going, okay, do I want to sit here and break out? Because, you can break out different mailing lists and move people there manually on your own and try and shuffle them around and set up these things, or having it done for you. I do think that is really important. And then there's the other aspect of, because as a business owner, we think about this too, of going, okay, I've got all these people who use me. I've got 700 clients. Maybe if I've got 1,000 people who use me throughout the year. But why do they use me? Right? Do they actually like my business, or am I just the only option that they found? Are they hesitant to use? How can I build, or can I find a way to foster a better relationship with them? And I think that's really what this gets down to, of going, I want to be better connected with my clients, whether that's showcasing my expertise, whether that's talking about things that are going on in the company so they feel more connected. But I have to target these little subgroups instead of just sending out these big one-off blasts, because I know we've done that before, and then it feels like, well, I talked about cats last week, so I guess this week I need to talk about dogs so that the dog people don't feel left out, and then I got to, right? But it's like, what if I could do all that at the same time?
And it gets kind of messy, doesn't it? Then you're not, like you just said, you're not making best use of your relationship with your clients. You're not, and there are going to be, if you look at your customer data, there are going to be, like, you might do 60% of your income is from sitting, or compared to last year, you might look at it and you might say, goodness, like cats has gone from like 10% to like 40% of our income now, Yeah. Well, guess what? Like that needs more attention. You know what I mean? That's something that you can push a lot harder. And yeah, you can create these communication channels inside the CRM system.
Have you heard of Time to Pet? Chris-Anne from Raining Cats and Dogs has this to say.
Becoming a Time to Pet client has been a game changer for us. We can give our pet services clients real-time, cloud-based information they never imagined they'd be interested in. And most importantly, to me personally, I can better manage my company and look forward to more. And not a small thing, Time to Pet is responsive to my requests for new features and modifications to existing ones.
If you're looking for new pet sitting software, give Time to Pet a try. Listeners of our show can save 50% off your first 3 months by visiting timetopet.com/confessional.
Can I quickly go through? I'll go through another couple of identifiers for when you might feel like it's the right time for you to move on to this. Yeah,
absolutely. Because again, the CRM thing is it's new for a lot of people, and we think of it, that's big business, that's big company thing. So it's just me. How do I know if it's a good fit, or what are some signs that I need to be looking for? Absolutely, Dom.
Perfect, cool. So these are in no particular order, okay? But you've touched upon it already, and it's a great point. So we'll start with that one. Is like increasing complexity, okay? So as the business expands and it's offering a wider range of services or products as well, because I know some people add products into the mix too. It gets more complex, the complexity of managing the customer relationships, sales pipelines, and coordinating all your marketing efforts and stuff. It's just that if it feels like it's getting too complex, it's probably time for you to think about this. Another one is your growing customer base. You mentioned like having 700 clients on the books, if it's experiencing steady growth, and if you guys follow the kind of stuff that I teach in my books and the kind of stuff that Colin and Megan share on this podcast, and they get the experts in to share their wisdom as well. If you implement this stuff, you're going to start to see real growth in your business. And if you want that to continue, you'll probably at some point you're going to find it really challenging to keep track of everything, appointments and interactions, and trying to use like a manual method and spreadsheets and everything else. I'm a huge fan of paper and ink, and I have notes scrawled all over my notice boards at the moment. But like, if I had to run my entire business like that, forget it. I figure it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be here. So the CRM kind of helps you to centralize and streamline all of your different processes. We and you guys have had people on. You've talked about this, and you've had guests on as well. Talking about creating processes and systems, Colin, for like your staffing and stuff. Like it's crucial, isn't it? Yeah, for safety and to make sure everyone knows what they're doing, and to ensure that you are providing a consistent high level of service. To enable you to kind of clone yourself. We have all these processes and systems for the staff. Well, shouldn't we have it for the marketing too? Well, of course we should. Like you should, when people come into your world and they leave their contact details, they should receive the perfect message from you, that you've honed and crafted over the years, and they should get it at the right time and everything. So, so that's another thing. If you find yourself running out of time, if you're spending a lot of time on, like administrative tasks, and I would add to that as well, if you're spending a lot of money on an admin, either a VA or whoever else, to do a lot of administrative tasks that are repetitive, you should be automating those tasks, I mean, by all means, get them off your plate and give them to a VA, but it would make a lot more sense to automate a lot of these things. And then you can still have a VA, but they can be doing follow-up calls or sales calls, or helping you, put together stuff on Canva or whatever the hell else it is that you need to do in your business, So, yeah, I think to talk about staffing for a second as well, because another thing that the CRM does, or another thing that you should consider, one of the reasons you should consider investing in a CRM is to help you with the marketing side of things, which is something that people struggle with massively, when you talk about gathering leads and making sales and what's your conversions and all these different kinds of things. You can create within a CRM, a really good CRM, you can create like a sales pipeline, like a proper funnel, and it can be dead easy, and you can do this for all of your different services as well, and have it automated. Oh, don't let me forget to talk about AI in a minute, Colin, as well, because I know you guys have been hot on this topic, and there's a couple of things I want to share that'll help with that as well. But from a staffing point of view, when it's just you in the business, if you, let's say you have a quiet month, you have a really busy month, and then you have a quiet month, and you earn, $1,000 less than you did last month. Okay. When you're on your own, it's like, it's not the end of the world, because probably things are going to pick up again next month. And if they don't, there's stuff that you can do to do that. But it only affects you, which is still bad enough, but it only affects you. Once you start staffing and scaling your business, then as soon as you start staffing your business, then you're in the staffing game like for life, aren't you?
It never
Unless
stops.
you decide to go. Well, you are, aren't you? People leave, some people don't work out, some people want to go part-time, all these different kinds of things, And so once you start staffing, you're in the staffing game, then you're almost having to do rolling recruitment all of the time. Because you're responsible, aren't you? You're responsible for paying the staff's wages and for for fulfilling all the services that you've agreed to do, So when you've sort of crossed that Rubicon and you're in that game now, like, it's a big deal if you earn, $1,000 or $2,000 less one month than you did last month, And so you can't afford for that to happen. So once you start scaling, you really need to have like an efficient, effective sales process, like a proper funnel that's attracting your ideal clients, warming them up, bringing them in, and making them book appointments with you so that you can have this like steady pipeline of clients all the time. Does that make sense?
It does. It references back to that other engine, one of those two engines that you had. This helps drive that in an automated way of you're not having to sit there, and it really helps boost your efficiency and your productivity in that of going, instead of you sitting down, figuring out the 5 emails you need to send or how you're going to connect with these people, you can set that up into a system so that as you get clicks, as people sign up for emails, things are going to go out. And as you mentioned earlier too, like, because it's happening in the system in the background, the email is always going to be spelled perfectly because it was already written, right? Like, that's a big thing. I don't know if you're like me, where you send an email and then you look at the email and you go, wow, I didn't even spell my name right. That's amazing. Cool.
Hey, I know you're on my email list. My spelling's terrible for my daily email.
So yeah, it's just going, okay, how do I manage my time and how do I keep this engine running so that I can help my business continue to grow or maintain at the level? Because we know we're going to have attrition of clients. They're going to move away. They're going to pass away. Finances are going to change, but we need to keep bringing them into this. And so for the CRM, is this something that you mentioned website? Does it? I'm assuming it takes information from email signups from website. Can it also, or should they also be able to connect to, if we have a software that we use to run our company? Is there any interplay between a CRM and our booking and scheduling software?
Yeah, I believe a couple of people I've spoken to have said that Time to Pet don't have some kind of an API, I think, that connects with other softwares and stuff. So I think this is going to differ across the sort of spectrum, So, but what I will say is what you want to think about it. See, there's lots, and I've seen Time to Pet in action. I was over with a client in Texas in January, and he used it as well. Fabulous bit of kit, as are lots of other things that are out there as well. But and you can do a lot of communication in something like Time to Pets, just the same as you can do a lot of communication in something like QuickBooks, But just because you can do that communication in there doesn't mean to say that's necessarily the best way to do it, Especially for the front end of the business, Colin. So like this is the big thing, is creating this kind of this funnel, this pipeline, so that when someone lands on your website, which is, the online portal into your business, isn't it? It's like the online real estate of your business, your office, if you like, your digital office. Someone is turning up and actually walking through the front door as they would if they were coming into, a static building that you would have, Well, if someone came into a building, someone came into my my doggy daycare or my groomers or my dog walking office, would I just sit behind the desk and let them wander around and look at the pictures on the wall and let them walk out again? No, I wouldn't, is the answer. I would get up and help them, I would get up and help them and introduce them, and I would get their contact details if I could, I would say like, hey, if you want to know more about what we do here, would you mind giving me your mailing address and I'll send you a prospectus in the post? Or would you mind giving me your email address and I'll send you some testimonials and a virtual tour of what we do on our dog walks or whatever, Like that's what I would do anyway. A lot of businesses out there would let the client walk back out again, but I certainly wouldn't. Well, if you think about your website like that, the front end of the website, that's what it's doing, isn't it? That's what it should be doing anyway. It should be fully optimized so that it leads the website visitor to hopefully get in contact with us, or if not that, then at the very least, give us their contact details so that we can follow up with them, position ourselves as an expert, warm them up, all these other things that stay top of mind so that when they are ready to buy, then we're the ones that are there with the message, with the solution for them.
Allowing that conversation to continue, right? Because one of the worst things that we can have happen is somebody show up at our website and then disappear. And we need to find ways to continue having touch points with them. So we're going to try and grab that email. For the CRM, is it going to collect any other kind of data, or do we need to give it any other data about our clients, of other than an email or things like that?
No, well, yeah. So let's back up a little bit then, because there are systems out there that, and ours is one of them, that enable you to gather the details and funnel people in, not just from the website, but also from your Facebook page, from your Instagram page. We have this facility where it's like an all-in-one inbox almost, where everything, all of these things, the client application forms and everything, texts, the chat bot that they talk to on the homepage of the website, all these things feed into like a central inbox, which then funnel them into hopefully taking some kind of an action, booking an appointment, or filling in a contact form or something like that. So yeah, to answer your question, about the data, it can be collecting data all along the way. It can ask them for their name. They can give their name. Now we've got the name. It can ask them for their dog's name. They fill in the dog's name. Now we've got the dog's name, Well, with all of this information, when's your dog's birthday, all these different things. And you shouldn't require all of that information at the start. There's a certain amount of information that you need in order to move the client along the customer journey. But then once they've actually paid your money and they want to, use your services, then we can ask them for a whole ton more information that we can use to help better structure the services that we're going to tell them about.
Now, you said that phrase of, don't ask for all this stuff up front. How do we make sure that we are using a CRM well? What would a well-structured CRM process look like for our businesses?
Well, quite simply, it should be fully optimized, so especially the homepage, but all of your pages really, they should be fully optimized to either make a sale or, get an appointment booked, a meet and greet, whatever you want to call it, a consultation. And if you can't do that, then it should get their contact details, so that you can then follow up with them. So that's like, it sounds very simple, but in a nutshell, that's like really it. That to me, that is what a working dog, a service dog website should be doing for you. It should be doing those two things. And before we get into that, we assume a lot as business owners. We assume a lot that isn't true. So we assume that people land on our website, they look around, they make a note of, our contact details, and then they'll come back and look at the website a number of times, and then they'll get in contact with us. In reality, that doesn't really happen. The inquiries that you get for your services today or tomorrow or the next day, they come from the tiny percentage of people who visit your website who need your services right now. They've made that decision, or something bad's happened. They've had a change in circumstances at work. Their kid's gone off to college. He can't walk the dog anymore. They've got an emergency holiday plan. Something. I need help. Where can I go? I've heard about these guys. I'm getting in touch. Right. But that's a tiny percentage of the amount of people who stumble across your website through the content that you're putting out there, blogs, articles, whatever it is, videos, that's driving people to your website. Most people who come to your website, come to the website, they might look around and think, oh, this looks interesting. And then they get a Facebook notification, or they get an email, or the dog's sick in the corner of the room, or their kid calls for them, or their phone rings, and then they shut it down and they never come back again. Yeah. So wouldn't it be amazing if you had a website that was optimized to start a conversation and get those people's contact details almost as soon as they were there?
Well, and what's really important now, I know a lot of changing client behavior with uncertainty in the economy and people being more conservative about their finances. The length of time from discovery of solution to actually implementing a solution, going with a company is slowly increasing, right? And so we need to find ways to keep top of mind. That's a word that we hear a lot of. Oh, market so you can be top of mind. Well, if people found you once kind of by happenstance or by referral, right, they're going to have busy lives. So if we can find a way, I love that, have that conversation, continue going, continue to show up, continue to say hi. It's like, because it's hard running a service-based business. I look at people who run brick and mortar stores and I'm like, oh, there's a physical reminder of that store in the community. People drive by it every day. They see the signs, they see the billboards, they see what's going on there. And we kind of live in obscurity because we don't have that physical reminder. So finding ways to do that is really super critical for us in the kind of businesses that we run.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you don't do that, see, and if you're getting enough business from having the kind of website you've got now, great, like this isn't, you might not want to consider this even. But if you kind of bought into, and that's why I kind of, rather than go into the mega technical aspects of a CRM, I'm trying to give people the bigger picture reasons why you should not just rethink having a CRM, you should maybe rethink how you kind of structure your whole online presence, because it would be way more effective and you would be able to grow a lot faster and you'd have a much healthier pipeline if you had all these kind of things, in place in your business.
Well, and it's going to help you understand if you ask for things like, something we do is when people reach out to us, they ask, okay, like, how did you find us? Where did you come from? But it sounds like having a system where we're putting people into different buckets. Okay, the cat people are over here and the wedding services are here. Then you can see these little siloed sections and go, okay, all the cat people are finding me from this one rescue in the area. Okay, I need to go talk to those people. And the wedding people, there's one wedding planner or two wedding planners. I need to go talk to those people. It helps you break out that data so it's not as confusing as well, where you can go, okay, I have a much better handle on how my business is operating out in the community so that I can invest in those a little bit more as well.
For sure. And you can do it in real time as well. Yeah. So rather than, just looking at your profit and loss account at the end of the quarter, or maybe it's at the end of the year, and seeing like, hey, you know what, we sold quite a bit of cat stuff this year, like we might want to do something about that maybe. And then you forget about it, instead of it being that kind of decision, instead it's like, you can see trends, you can see things happening as they happen and then take actions to capitalize on the growth that you're having.
Yeah, and it really does help us in understanding our clients better as a whole. But it helps us. It sounds like a CRM can help us understand both existing and potential clients as well.
One of the things that kind of, when you do direct response marketing and the kind of marketing that I practice, and then a lot of my clients practice as well, is when you put a really clearly targeted, sometimes polarizing message out there, So are you this kind of person suffering from this kind of problem? And do you want to fix it in this amount of time? Then this article is for you, or then you've come to the right place, And some people don't like that. Some people, they find it a bit too salesy, or they find but what you're really doing is you're just speeding things up because when you put a message like that out there, someone who does land on your website, who is suffering from that kind of problem, who is desperate for a solution and wants it fixed quickly, they're like, yeah, tell me more, Whereas people who land on the website and they're like, I'm not really sure about this, why are they asking me all this information, whatever, and they go, well, that's great, because they were probably going to go anyway, but you've just kind of speeded things up. So, and with all of the kind of really in-depth features that a good CRM has, you're able to continue the conversation. You said it before, to continue that conversation and get people into a conversation much quicker. We know that, I can't remember the exact stats for it, but we know that if you have a missed call from someone, or if someone leaves a message on your website or whatever, if you can get on the phone with them like really quickly after that point, the chances of you converting them to a client, they increase massively. Well, you can't do that if you don't have this kind of CRM system like this plugged into your business.
Well, that's a little bit about I feel like that's kind of talking about the content that we pour into the system, because it sounds like we could have the world's best funnel and the world's best steps, but if the language and the content that we're putting in there is garbage, we're not actually going to see a result from this.
For sure, yeah, for sure. And it's all kind of it's all interlinked, So If we talked about the two different kind of examples at the start about the different kind of websites that you can have, a pretty picture pixel website that is a bit of a placeholder, and that's it. That's all it really does. There's no kind of system involved in the design of the website to help you to get more clients. It's just like if someone feels like buying, then they'll buy from you. So it's a bit of a wishy-washy website, really. Well, if you have a wishy-washy website, you're probably being a little bit wishy-washy with other aspects of your marketing as well. Maybe not through choice. Maybe it's through a lack of education and knowledge and stuff and skills. Yeah, and we've all been there. didn't come out the womb knowing how to write copy and do emails and write newsletters and all these different kinds of things. I've had to learn how to do it.
It's weird. I thought that was everybody.
No, it's true, Colin. No, it's not true. Yeah. So if you, to your point about, the message and stuff and the content that we're putting there, 100%, like you could, and you would make a regular website better. Even if you didn't have a CRM system, you weren't collecting email addresses, you would make a regular website much better if you followed like what Dan Kennedy calls PAS formula, pain, agitate, solution, so we're addressing people's pain points at the top. We're agitating them with some copy. We're presenting our service as a solution, and then we're giving testimonials and stuff underneath to give us credibility. You would increase conversions on a regular website just by doing that without adding emails or anything else. I believe. However, if you do that and you have the CRM and you have the follow-up and stuff, you can see how it can exponentially kind of increase results.
Yeah, because it's that follow-up that's really important. It's the going, okay, I can only do so much on a static web page. Once I walk them through that PAS system and down at the bottom they click sign up or get in contact, then I can take that email, I can put them into a series of other emails they're going to send out over a period of time that are going to showcase more information, talk about the business, that I can talk about things are. Because cat people are going to want to hear about cat things, right? They're not going to really want to care about how to detect heat stress in a dog on a walk. They may, if they care about animals, they may want to do that, but it's not relevant to them. And so showering them with irrelevant information is not going to make them go, wow, this person's amazing. Because they're going to go, well, or like wedding people, again, I keep coming back to that. Like they don't really
examples.
They don't want to know about the intricacies of scooping cat litter because they want their dog to show up at the wedding. So we need to be talking to them in that way specifically and kind of segmenting them out so that we can make sure that they understand how we can help them.
I agree. And I'd take it a step further, actually. I think it will actually pee them off, and it'll frustrate them, that you are not talking to them about something that they clearly need help with, So yeah, it's a bit like, it's interesting. This interview is a pretty good example of that, like we're trying to stick to the topic of CRMs, and then other things are coming in, like as we're talking about it, aren't they? Right. Naturally, do you know what I mean? Right. Just because it does, and so we've talked about copy and we talked about how a website should be structured and all these different things. But like we're trying to stick to the topic of the CRM, but these other things, they are involved in this instance. But usually, with the example that you give, those are the things you're talking about. They are the cat client or the wedding client. They couldn't care less. They don't care where the 5 best dog walks are in where you live. They don't care about dogs eating chocolate at Christmas. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just want to know about what can you do. How can you help me with this problem that I've got?
Right. Well, I think that gets to a really tough problem in businesses where we want to. Because something maybe you can walk me through this, but we want to make sure people have a magical experience in our businesses, right? I know you wrote a book about Disneyfying your business, and that's about this magical thing coming in, and sometimes that means that we need to surprise and delight them, which can be. We feel like, okay, well, I want to tell them everything about my business up front, which means there's nothing left for them to experience. So how do we use the CRM into this process and this funnel to tell people about our business while still making it kind of drool worthy and have an anticipation about working with us?
Well, you essentially drip feed them, I mean, it ties in with the follow-up point you make before. I'll very quickly, Colin, tell my follow-up story. I know you might have heard this, but I'll quickly tell my follow-up story. When Beth and I, wife, operations manager, we started working at the Empire Theatre at the same time. I was 18, I think she was 20. And we were selling ice creams, and we both started working at exactly the same time. We got put on the upper circle together to work a shift together. And I thought she was hot stuff. Okay. So I was banging to her. I was laying on the Dom charm. I was telling jokes. I was, showing off. And by the end of the shift, I thought, you know what? Like, this is going fantastically well. Little did I know, she thought I was a complete insert swear word here. Okay. She was, and she did, she thought that for quite a while as well. So how, if that was the case, how, like 20 odd years later, Why are we together? We've got 2 kids, 10 chickens, which I know you love to hear about.
I do. Thank you.
2 dogs. How has this happened? Well, it happened because that wasn't the only interaction that we had. Yeah, we worked together for weeks, months, years after that, and we gradually, I gradually wore her down. We gradually found some common ground, warmed her up. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say. But seriously, it's follow up. It's all these follow ups, and when you have a system, and I guess it's probably more true for dog trainers, really. Dog trainers are the world's worst, the most guilty ones for overloading their clients with information. They want to share everything that the client needs to know right now. But I get to your point before, I guess all of us probably do to some degree, and we want them to know about all these different things, and they need to fill in all these different things and stuff, and it's overwhelming for a client, So that definitely having this facility to drip information, to give it in a steady way, and it's not even really about the information that you give, although that is important. It's more about the continued touch points that you have with these people, because to the top of mind point you made earlier, you don't know when the person is ready to buy. We don't know. If we knew that, it would be brilliant. You know when the people who are ready to buy now because they contact you, okay? Everybody else, you don't know. That you don't know. It's that one day when the job changes, or the dog runs away in the park, or he bites the postman, or they adopt a cat and then they realize they haven't got anybody to look after the cat, or the husband says, "Will you marry me?" and the future wife says yes. These are the times when they need the decisions, when they're starting to make the decisions. And if you are showing up regularly, if you have a system, if you have a pre-written system, or you have communications that you're sending out to all these different buckets in your business, then you're going to be the one. You're going to be the one that's top of mind. Otherwise, they'll just go and Google, and they'll land on anybody's website, and they'll say, "Oh, this looks pretty much similar to the one I saw before. It must be them,"
Right.
And this happens all the time, especially with, your business is quite distinctive, Funky Bunch. Mine, Pack Leader Dog Adventures, that's quite distinctive. A lot of people have business names that are very similar to other business names in their town. And so, they don't know Louie's Pet Care from Susie's Pet Care from Jenny's Pet Care. They don't know. They don't know the difference. They don't remember the difference. They just want some pet care, but they will know if you're showing up in their inbox, or via texts, or via some offline marketing like a newsletter or a postcard or a phone call, even. If you're showing up, which you can do once you gather all these details.
Yeah, realizing that I don't have just this one chance to talk to them. And when they're in the system, whenever I get them to that point, again with the front, getting them funneled into, getting their contact information, now I can really talk to them and realizing this is a true relationship, and I can tell them a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more. That, because we feel like, I've got to make this one social media post. I got to make sure that it has all the details and all the information, that it has to stand alone. But breaking that out and going, no, it doesn't. Right? You can have a months long interaction with a potential client, or even an existing client, and nurture and foster that relationship and build that so that they continue to see more about your company.
For sure, yeah. That's it. You hit the nail on the head there. Definitely, yeah. It's the multiple follow opportunities, and that's the game changer, because if you don't have any of this kind of thing plugged into your business, then you're really practicing hit and hope marketing. Really, you're kind of hoping that someone lands and they're in a place of sufficient pain that they're going to phone you up, or fill in those contact details, request an appointment, whatever. If you have a direct response system where you're putting them into some kind of a funnel, then, like you said, you have multiple follow opportunities. And I can't remember the exact stats off the top of my head, Colin, but we were taught this back in the day with Imperial Tobacco, so I used to be a sales rep for Imperial Tobacco, and I used to have maybe 200 stores that we used to visit in a month. So I used to do 10 a day or whatever it was to over the course of the month. And when we had a brand new brand that we were going to bring, that we brought out, I used to go to my PITA clients, my pain in the butt clients, who I knew were going to be a really difficult sell. I used to go to them straight away. I didn't used to wait until the end of the sales cycle because I knew I was going to have to go back 3, 4, 5, 6 times in order to get the brand in. The easy ones I'm going to get no problem. And this is true for everything. Like I think it's something like 1 or 2% of sales are made on the first contact. And 5 or 6% of sales are made after it's something like 80% of sales are made after the 5th contact or something, So that's an inaccurate, but you'll just have to take it at face value because I haven't got the exact stats in front of me. Sure. But that's an inaccurate, but that's an old stat as well. So like you said earlier, now with all the different media that people are being bombarded with, and the level of trust that they have to build up before they invest in someone, especially for what we're selling, which is pet safety, or it involves pet safety, that their prized furry friend. The need for this follow-up is even more crucial.
Did you know that the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters, or NAPS, is the only national nonprofit professional pet sitting association dedicated to raising and abiding by industry standards? NAPS provides pet sitters with the tools and resources to own and operate successful pet sitting businesses. And one aspect of that is their annual conference. March 1st through 3rd, 2024, they will be having their Bloom and Grow Your Business conference in Savannah, Georgia. Their goal is to bring together industry leaders with session topics that are idea-focused and on a wide range of subjects to foster learning, inspiration, and provoke conversations that matter. Did you attend the 2023 conference? If so, enjoy a discounted rate through August 31st, 2023 of $170. Again, that's only good through August 31st. They do have an early bird registration through September 30th of 2023, which is $195. And their general registration is October 1st through February 19th of 2024, and that is $225. Visit the NAPS website at petsitters.org for information regarding the NAPS membership, certification, and the complete conference details. You've mentioned it a couple times coming up, but you've been working on something, I gather, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit of background actually as well. So obviously I've been coaching and consulting since about 2017. Like I say, I ended up doing that because I plugged all this stuff into my own business, So I had email sequences, I had lead magnets, I had a failed online store, which we've talked about in the past as well. Yeah. I wrote books, I did all these different things. I was doing podcasts, I was doing online and offline media and papering, all these different things, and it helped my business to grow hugely, and it was a really successful business. And then I ended up, like I said, I had the blip with the store and then had a really successful training business and an online training business and everything else. And people were coming to me and saying, how are you doing all this? Why are you writing books? How do you do emails and stuff like that? So that was kind of what led me to start teaching others about how to do this in their business and position me as like the go-to guy for all this kind of thing. One of the big missing pieces of the puzzle, really, for the last kind of 5 years has been people come into my world. I tell them what's wrong with the business. I tell them, where all the hidden money is, and then I tell them how to fix it. And then I kind of say, okay, now you need to go away and figure out how to do all the technical stuff, figure out the email provider and plug it into your business. And because I've never really had a preferred website supplier, I've never really had a preferred CRM system, even though I've used certain ones for a long time. I haven't been blown away with their success, their capability, that I felt like referring them particularly to others, and I could have had affiliate links for all kinds of things over the years, and I just haven't, because I only really believe, how it works. We'll touch upon that then. You guys did the same. I know you are. You push stuff you use, or you push stuff you believe in, or you push stuff that other people use, you've seen tangible results. It's important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because that helps you be able to talk from a place of confidence and security and knowing, look, people can pay you to say a lot of things, but they can't say that you love and use it, right? So it's definitely a difference.
For sure, yeah, and I, like I said, I could have done the same thing. I could have pushed a lot of stuff through affiliates and that, and on this side of things, but I haven't. I haven't felt, I haven't felt confident enough to do it in the product really. So there's been a missing piece of the puzzle for me. Is this like I know all about email, I know all about lead magnets, all about copy, I know what a funnel looks like, I know what your website should do, but I haven't had this kind of technical thing. However, until now, so I've over the last kind of 6 months, connected with a guy who has built all this stuff in his business. We've been plugging it into my business over the last kind of 3 months, and it's working like a charm. And now we've got our own version of this to roll out to the pet business community, essentially. Yeah, it's our own like CRM and also website builder, the funnels, the all-in-one inbox, everything really. Yeah, I've called it Pet Biz Suite. So now I'm able to help people with like the strategy, this is what you should be doing, or, what are your goals? Where do you want to go? Okay, this is what you should be doing. Where's all the hidden money? And if you want more help with this, like we actually have our own system as well that you can take, that you can plug all of this into your business. And, you buy in speed when you have the right tools. You're just able to get the job done a lot faster. So that's what we've got.
Well, that's really so. It includes the website builder and everything's plugged in through the back end with the pre-built funnels and stuff.
Yeah, pre-built funnels, sales templates, all pet business specific as well. So what the kind of the magic of this is, and like I said, there's a few other systems and stuff floating out about there as well. What I think the beauty of this system is that obviously it's got my fingerprints all over it, like my knowledge of copy and like what a sales funnel should look like and what kind of follow-up you should have. So yeah, it's got all the templates and everything. It's all been like specified for walkers, for sitters, for groomers, for trainers, for doggy daycares. And yeah, we're really excited about it. We've got just very quickly, Colin, I'll tell you about the AI capabilities. Remember, I said you wanted to, just very, very quickly. Obviously, AI is like, it's on fire, isn't it? And you guys have talked about various different ways you can plug it into your business and stuff, and it's been fantastic help. And no doubt you'll be doing an episode like that every 2 months because it's just
at this rate, yes.
Yeah, for sure, but there's safe to say there's a lot of ways you can leverage this in your business. And the system that we've got, Pet Biz Suite, which is built on high level, that has loads of AI capabilities already built into it. So with like an AI powered chatbot on the homepage, that will have a conversation with a website visitor, find out what their problems are, point them in get their contact details, point them in the right direction, book an appointment, all this kind of thing. Also with content creation, it's got this stuff built in there as well to help with social media, to help with blogging, other articles and stuff that you want to write. I'm really excited about this. It's kind of the most excited I've been about my business since maybe 2017 when I sort of fully transitioned from, training and walking business, adventure business, to becoming a coach. It was like a big transition for me. This is another one. I think it's going to help people unleash their potential a lot more in the business and make scaling and a whole lot easier.
Well, that's very interesting about the AI feature, because when people are listening to us talk about CRMs, the importance of having high quality content, the importance of having things to produce and send out to people, we've got to now, it turns into a content machine. Now I've got to be pumping these things out. Well, if we have something, if you've got a little robot over here that's going to be making things for you that you take and tweak and adapt yourself, like that's an important aspect of this, like still tweaking and adapting it. But now the burden that many people may feel of like, oh, I've got to come up with how much in a funnel, I've got to do how much with this, like, oh my gosh, like that all pretty much goes away with a click or two of a button and some light editing. You have some content to push out and to make for people that's targeted at these specific groups. Really does help you be a lot more productive in your business. And especially now you've got this whole system, you can see how you can go, okay, there was a lot on my plate before. Most of that's been taking off. Now I still have work to do. I still have to put stuff into this and get it set up and manage it, but I'm going to get a big payoff at the end from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, there's a bit of work to do before, I mean, in this instance, like when I first had my when I first signed up to my first CRM system, like there was nothing in there. I had to put like everything in there. And by the time it came to leave, it was like unbelievable the amount of stuff that we had in there. But with this, we got a lot of stuff is now like templated, so it's just literally fill in the blank stuff. The prompts and everything are all there for the AI generated stuff. So like personalization, automated, really like just taking the stress off of all these repetitive tasks that we need to happen in the business for a growing business. I will say, Colin, like I said at the start, being truthfully honest, a lot of people, this won't be right for you yet. You don't need anything like this just yet. You'll be just fine doing what you're doing with your MailChimp. But if you're pushing over six figures is on the horizon, or you're well beyond that, you have ambitions to grow bigger as well, and you don't have anything like this plugged into your system, then it's a real false economy.
Yeah, it really is. When you start seeing those pain points that we talked about, we start going, okay, now I need to go find solutions for this. And so this sounds really fantastic, Dom. I'm really excited to hear about this, because it's something that a lot of people don't think is either attainable or necessary to their businesses. Because again, it's this big, scary, what does it mean? How does it work? What can it do for me kind of thing? So having something that's built in and you've been working on this for a while, it sounds like, making sure that it's nailed down, that just sounds really fantastic.
Yeah. We're like I said, we're super excited. It's been a ton of work. It's going to be a ton of work as well for like the next 3-4 months until we do like our first kind of rollout. The first major rollout. We're already rolling it out, but the first kind of major rollout. And then actually, I forgot to mention too. This is why I'm another reason I'm really excited about it is the ongoing stuff too. So you're familiar with, did we send you a copy of my calendar that I'd produced at Christmas? Did you guys get a copy of that?
Yes. Yeah, we did get your calendar.
My promotional calendar, yeah? So that's something that I produced for my clients, and it's got like a bunch of promotional ideas in, every month to promotions and stuff to sell your services and upsells and all this kind of thing, We're using like that as like a baseline sort of template, really. I'm able to produce and put into the system emails, social media posts and stuff like that. So it's already in there. So this stuff lands in there, like every month, every other month on an ongoing basis. So you don't just have a system for dealing with the influx of clients you've got now, you've got like a continuous pipeline of content and promotions and offers and stuff to put out there that's relevant to the client, interesting, and just taps into all these sort of follow-up pain points we talked about.
Yeah, again, how do I, I need to do something with the new people coming into my company, but I also have to have this conversation with existing clients, and I have to continue to give them stuff and have an interaction with them, so that kind of extra content really goes a long way.
Absolutely. And this is something that, you guys do a lot of content. I do a lot of content, but a lot of people struggle with content, they struggle with it, they struggle. What do I say? And someone just asked in your group today about price, what do I say if I want to do a price increase? And you help them out, dead easy answer. But like ongoing from that, like, what do I talk about this week? What do I talk about next week? And because like I'm like a content machine, like it didn't feel like a problem to me, but I know it's a massive problem for people, because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get the ideas, or they haven't got time, or maybe they don't even have any interest in it, right. And that's totally fine too. Well, maybe their interests are in, growing the team and nurturing the team and, all these other different things, we all can't be good at everything. This is why I have my operations managers, my wife, who's good at all the things that I'm not very good at, because my business wouldn't work otherwise.
Right. Yeah. And recognizing going, okay, I may not like this, but that doesn't mean it's not important to a healthy company, to healthy running business. That's really important. And we, as the business owners, have to decide, okay, this is not in my interest. It's not my wheelhouse. These are pain points that I'm having. What's my solution? Right. Because it is important to continue to do.
Yeah. It's hugely important. It's hugely important. Like I said, especially if, like, for the guys listening who are in like growing mode, you're in growth mode, you're at that stage where like, you've got that momentum, you've sorted out your message, you've got a brand identity, you've got a reputation, you've got systems and stuff in place for your staffing. Now it's probably really just a question of like, how big do I want to grow? And that's an important question you need to ask as well, because the bigger you grow, the bigger responsibilities and stuff like that. But if you're in a position where you are, the business is rocking and rolling and you're like, okay, like, let's just like put our foot to the floor here and like see what the hell we can achieve, because like we're having a lot of fun and we're impacting a lot of lives at the same time. If you're at that stage, then this becomes like I said, it's almost like an engine, Colin. So the other name that we had for it was Pet Biz Engine, but I went with Pet Biz Suite. It's going to be like a suite of products, some offline stuff too, newsletter templates, postcards, all these different things. But it's really like a sales engine for your business that's going to drive your business forward.
Now you have me thinking about what you're going to come out with and call it Pet Biz Engine. I'm curious what the next release is going to be.
No, we went over this. It's Pet Biz Suite.
TM, right? It's
going to steal it.
Yeah. Dom, thank you so much for coming on the show today and breaking down how we can foster these relationships with our clients and with potential clients so we stay top of mind. We find that hidden money in our companies through this kind of content, and your exciting announcement about Pet Biz Suite. If people want to learn more about this, pick your brain and dive deep into Pet Biz Suite and everything that it has to offer, how can people do that?
Yeah, they can go to petbizsuite.net for now. So petbizsuite.net. They can sign up for a 14-day free trial of the software, so you can see exactly how it works. And there's a lot in there, but what we've done is we kind of chunked it down so you can quickly, create a landing page, or you can quickly create a home page. You can quickly get some of these automations plugged in and see how effective it can be, even just in 14 days. There's also a webinar on there as well, where you can kind of see a bit more about exactly what it is and the behind the scenes and the kind of key areas that it can help you with in your business. Yeah, if anybody wants to know more about the coaching, they can go to petbusinessmarketing.com. But yeah, all of the Pet Biz Suite details, the free trial, webinar, and all the other stuff that we have on there too, go to petbizsuite.net.
Awesome. Well, I will have those links in the show notes, Dom, and along with everything else that we've discussed here. It's always a pleasure. So thank you so much for coming on, sharing, and I'm always excited to see everything that you have going on.
Yeah, and thanks again for inviting me on, Colin. It's always an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I'm hoping that we can hook up sometime next year if on one of my trips to the stateside. So yeah, let's try and make that happen.
We will, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Take care.
My biggest takeaway from my conversation with Dom was whether you decide to use a formal CRM program or not. As business owners, we should be finding ways to better foster the relationships with existing clients. Because it's true, servicing an existing clients is way more cost-effective than going out and trying to find a brand new client to take their place. Additionally, as Dom talked about, you have clients who would be willing to give you more money, to spend more with you, if only they knew of those options. At the foundation of everything that we do in the pet service industry is and are relationships. We are people-focused, passionate pet people. Right? We want to be able to serve people with excellence well by taking care of their pets in the best way possible. Find ways to get connected with your clients in a more deeper and a more meaningful way. In that system, whatever that is, through email, through text, through postcard, through phone conversations, get connected with your clients so you can understand exactly what they are looking for and how you can serve them better. We want to thank today's sponsors, Time to Pet, and the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. Don't forget about that early bird registration. And if you attended last year's conference, you get a discount too, but that's only good through the August 31st. Thank you so much for listening. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you and your time and attention that you give us. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll be back again soon.